Where are my feelings? What? What else? What you do? I should. Where you at, baby? Just what? Come on. Oh.
My comment makes it very clear that I don't think we should boycott. My comment is tantamount to everybody doesn't want the same thing. And there are a lot of people who are saying it's just a song. Well, if that's what you think, enjoy. But hello. Hey, hello. That's the Erykah Badu version, by the way. Hello. Hey, hello. Okay. I have marks from my glasses. My third album, Testimony, Volume 1, Life and Relationship, turned 20 years old on Friday the 27th. It snuck up on me. Somebody had to tell me. And so that's why I'm making a video right now instead of writing about this on my Substack, which if you know me, you know I like writing on my Substack. And you don't need to see that bowl back there. Okay. And I've been in the blogs a couple times this last week, and so I wanted to come and talk about these things. Let's talk about the easy one first. It is being wrongly reported that I think we should boycott this song of the summer. I'm not going to tell you what it is because I refuse to sing that song, but either you know what it is or you don't. And if you don't, you can go find it. It's very easy. But I don't think we should boycott. What I want is to see people understand the power of words and music and to make choices that are healthy for them. That's what I want. Do I think it matters what I want for people? No. I have finally learned that it doesn't matter and that there's no amount of sacrificing my life force energy that is going to make anybody want anything better for themselves. All I can do is emanate what I emanate, stand for what I stand for, and hope that it reaches who it's meant to reach. And that's it. And that's all I'm going to do. And so my comment makes it very clear that I don't think we should boycott. My comment is tantamount to everybody doesn't want the same thing. And there are a lot of people who are saying it's just a song. Well, if that's what you think, enjoy. But what I know is that music has power. But of course, I have used that power to help some people. And I have traveled around this world twice. And I see the impact of what we export out of the Black American experience to the rest of the world. Longer story for another time, but I've seen it, so I know, and I'm telling you what it is, but you enjoy if that's what you want to do, and I will enjoy doing what I want to do. And that's why I don't think anybody needs to boycott. I think people just need to make choices for themselves. That's what I think. That's one. Two, also, this is a short version of a longer video. I put a much longer video where I go into detail about these concepts on my Substack, so go check that out if you're interested. Two, I was also in the blogs because I made comments about Clive Davis. And I said, watch what kind of stories you're going to see coming out about him. I signed my record deal when I was 22 years old. And so I learned about human nature through the lens of the music industry. So I got a full hot dose of all of it. And I know what kind of stories are going to go. I don't need to say anything more because you're going to hear the stories. You're already hearing the stories. If you're on social media, you hear some of it's true, some of it's not true, some of it's conspiracy, some of it's, exaggerated, but a lot of it's true. And it's not my place to tell stories of people close to me, but I've heard some stories and I have my own experience. And again, it was wrongly reported that I talked about our working relationship. I did not have a working relationship with him, but I was certainly at the effect of his power. So I go further into that on my Substack if you're interested. And the third thing, when I made the Clive Davis comments, people were saying, well, speak on it, sis. Like, tell us what you think. Like, like they wanted me to, because in my comment, I said, I don't need to go into my story because people have far worse stories than me. I called my experiences with Clive Davis an irritation, and it was an irritation. But I have stories. And that's why I decided to make this video today because, again, I go into the longer version on my Substack. But Testimony Volume 1, Life and Relationship, turned 20 years old on Friday, June 27th. And the record label executive that I did that album under is the one and only I did with this executive. was honored the other day at the BET Awards. I don't need to say her name. You can go find her name. You know who she is if you watch the BET Awards. And she did things to me that were so hurtful and so offensive. And I go into that in the longer Substack video. But what really happened in that era was coercion. That's how I know what coercion is. I know a version of it because coercion is when somebody puts you, why is my rap doing this? Coercion is when somebody puts you in a situation where you have to decide if you're going to destroy everything, destroy yourself, or do what they're telling you to do. And I signed to Motown under a different record label executive. So when they kicked him out, I had to stay with her. And so all the things that me and this other record label executive had planned, I had to recalibrate. And that she coerced me into things. And there's a much longer story, again, on my Substack. But the thing I want to share with you today is that Testimony Volume 1 had 2 album covers. I'm going to put them here on this video. One of them was the one I had for a good 8 months. And to me, that was the cover. We worked so hard on this cover. My graphic designer, Anna Valencia Lee Brooke. Is that your whole name, Anna? I don't know why that just came out like that. But she's really my friend, Anna, who is also my graphic designer. We met through Motown. She worked on that cover so long, and we just both knew that that was it. And then this record label executive basically said, well, you don't have to put your album out because I don't like it. She said I looked too muscular. She even used the words, it looks like Serena, which in my world, that's a compliment because Serena is body goals. But that's a whole nother conversation for another time. And they forced me to either not put my album out or make a different cover. And I made a different one. And the one I made was ridiculous to me at the time. Have you ever heard the saying, a horse is a camel is a horse? The saying, scratch. The saying is, a camel is a horse designed by committee. You get it? So it's basically saying like, what's this weird thing that looks like a horse, but it's not a horse? Because once everybody has their hands all in it, then it turns into this weird thing. And that's how I felt about the cover that most of you have seen for Testimony Volume 1, where I'm standing in front of the tree and I got the skirt that's blowing back. I'm standing grounded in front of a tree. They made me do that. And there's a lot of editing, the head, the angle of the head. They edited pieces of my hair in, and it just ended up looking like this thing. In hindsight, I don't dislike it as much as I did back then, but there was the coercion piece. So of course I hated it at the time, but it's what I had to do. Otherwise, my hair would have never come out, and Heart of the Matter would have never come out. Good Morning, There's Hope. These songs would have never come out. So I did what they told me to do. But the album cover I like. It was good. They let me use it for the UK release. And so it lives somewhere out in the world. And I'm proud of it. What I'm really proud of is everything that I've made it through. And all the ways that I've grown. And all of the wisdom that I have gained and earned. And this is why you see me saying stuff about the music industry sometimes. Because this is the world I come from. There are so many things that I don't address, that I look at and roll my eyes and look at and laugh and be like, what? What are people doing? A lot of things. I have opinions about everything like everybody else. But when you hear me commenting on something, it's because that's a place that I know is mine to comment. And that's why I made the comments about the song of the summer. And that's why I made the comments about Clive Davis. And that's why I'm making these comments now. Because I signed my record deal at 22 years old. And I most certainly have things to say about the state of the industry today, about the culture, because I speak from a place of wisdom. And I'm celebrating that today at the 20th anniversary of Testimony Volume 1. I'm going to end this on I am not my hair, I am not this skin, I am not your expectation, no, no. I am not my hair, I am not the skin, I am the soul that lives within. Let me tell you why I just sang that. Because it is on Testimony Volume 1, Life and Relationship. But there's a much longer story about more of the coercion, which then making me do the song with Akon, which I did not want to do. Them making me do, messing up the song royalties, all kind of stuff. I talk about that on Substack. But the reason why I wanted to end this on that note is because I want to say here what that song is about. Yes, on one level, it is about hair. Yes. But on a deeper level, it's about self-definition and not allowing the world to tell you who you are. Because that's what people do. They look at you and they go, oh, you're that. You don't know who I am. And that's what I am not my hair is saying. I am not your expectations. I am the soul that lives within means I'm a much bigger story than you can ever know. You don't know my story. And that's what the song means. And at this point in my life, at this, 28th year in the music industry, 25 years since my first release, 20 years since my second release. Voyage to India is going to be 25 next year, September 25th. She's a Libra. At this point, I am more self-defined than ever. And that's why you hear me saying things, putting things on threads, writing on Substack, making videos, saying things, because I'm not attached to who likes me and who doesn't like me. I'm not attached to who agrees and who doesn't agree. So I say what I feel is appropriate and needs to be said out of my mouth. And some things are for me to comment on and some are not. And so I'm not explaining myself here today. I am clearing up some things, but also I'm celebrating something bigger, and that is the soul that lives within. Okay, if you want to hear more of this story, go to my Substack. If not, you heard what I had to say. I love y'all. Peace.
Discomfort slows you down? Reach for natural relief. Night and Day Hemp's extra strength CBD pain relief balm melts into aching muscles, delivering warmth you can feel. Soothe your body naturally. Feel free to move again. Night and Day Hemp balm melts away tension so you can enjoy every moment. Feel the difference fast. Real relief, real results. Order now at Night and Day Herbals.